Hello, welcome to another episode of Smokin Brews. I'm Parker, coming to you from Duluth, Georgia, and today we're going to be brewing an ALTBIER. It's an old style German ale before they started lagering, alt meaning old. We are waiting for our Schwarzbier to finish, which we brewed last time. It's should be done with primary fermentation. It's just aging a little bit. In the meantime, I thought I'd brew another one. This process is going to be a little different today. We're going to be doing an all grain. We're not going to be doing a partial mash like we did with the Schwarzbier. We'll be using the traditional wort chiller to cool the wort down when it's done. It's only going to be a 3-gallon batch given the size of my pot. So with that, we're waiting for our strike water to come up to temperature, and we'll be using some Pilsner malt, which will make up about 90% of the grist today. The other 5% will be made of crystal malt, crystal 20, and the other 20% will just be a little Carafa 1 for a little color to get us to the right SRM. We'll be using some Dusseldorf White Labs yeast for the ALTBIER. We'll also be using German Spaltz, only an ounce. It's not a highly hopped beer. We'll be back as soon as we're ready to mash in. Okay, our strike water has reached 158 degrees. So, so we're going to go ahead and mash in. Okay, I've mashed in. We are sitting at about 154 degrees, which is right where I wanted it. We're going to go a little medium to heavier body on this one. That's pretty much it. We'll mash for an hour on this one, and we'll be back after that. Okay, we're done with the we're done with the mash. We finished the mash at 153 degrees. We lost a degree of temperature, which was great considering the equipment that I'm working with. Next thing to do is we're just going to pull the bag like so, making sure not to spill any grains into the wort. Pull it. We're going to water. A little bit over the side, no big deal. Take care of that. Now what I have waiting here to the side is just another stock pot and a pasta strainer. Standard. And we'll just transfer this over without spilling any. Just like that. Okay. So now that's just going to sit there and drain a little bit. I'm going to check my volume. What I've created here is just a wooden rod, and I've marked off the gallons. I'm shooting for a pre-boil volume of 3.5 gallons, or really about 3.25 gallons. We'll probably lose about a quarter gallon to boil off, which will leave us with about 3 gallons to go in the bucket. So I'm just going to check, see where we're at right now. That's what I figured. We're about 2.5 gallons there. So we're going to sparge a little water, which I have heating up here. So we'll sparge a little top off water through the grains here, and we'll get to our desired pre-boil volume. We'll take a pre-boil gravity reading. Come down to room temp, take our measurement.
low, pre-boil. So that's going to concentrate a little bit more as the boil goes on. We're shooting for original gravity of 1.054, so hopefully that's where we end up after the boil off and the concentration of the wort. We're going to wait for this to come to a boil, and we'll be back when it's ready to do our first hop addition. Okay, and we're back. We're at a boil now, so we're going to go ahead and do our hop additions. So we have, let's see, 0.84 ounces of Spaltz hops. There we are, German Spalt, traditional for the style of ALTBIER. We're going to go ahead and throw those in there. There they go. We're going to watch for that hot break. There we have the boiling wort. So we're going to set our timer for 45 minutes. At that point, we're going to add some, I don't know if you can see that or not. There we go, some Whrilfloc. And then we'll add the additional 0.15 ounces of German Spalt hops. So we'll check back then. Okay, and we're back. Post boil, we dropped our Whrilfloc tablet in at about 15 minutes to go in the boil. We added the last 0.15 ounces of Spaltz hops at 15 minutes, same time as the Whrilfloc. And now I've got my immersion chiller at ice bath. I have a pond pump down here that's pumping cold water through the immersion chiller back into the sink. So that's what's cooling our wort right now. And every now and then I'm giving that wort a stir with a sanitized spoon just to kind of keep the surface area that comes in contact with the wort, in contact with the cold. Let's talk about our sanitization practices real quick. We have our sanitized spoon, we have our pack of White Labs WLP036, getting that sanitized, and we have our thermometer sanitized, and we're just going to take some readings, and we are already down to 81 degrees. If we can get that down to 70, we'll be cooking with gas. So I'm going to work on that, and we'll be back. So we're back now. Our wort is cooled to 68 degrees. What I'm doing now is I have some Star San, and I'm put a half an ounce of Star San solution into, I'm adding 2 gallons of water for the correct dilution. And then once this is ready, we will get the rest of the bucket sanitized along with the lid, and we'll pour the wort in, we'll pitch the yeast, and we'll be done. Okay, so I poured my wort into the bucket, sanitized bucket, of course. Looks like it came in just a tad under 3 gallons, so right where I was aiming. My starting gravity is 1.056, so points higher than what I was shooting for, which is probably explained by the fact that I'm a little short on the gallons, probably boiled off a little more than I calculated, but no big deal. So I'm just going to pitch the yeast now. Here goes the brew jacket. It's been, the rod's been sanitized with an iodine solution, not Star San. So we're just going to pop that on there. And that's it. So, another good episode of Smokin Brews. We've we've brewed an alt beer, and we'll see how it turns out. Stay tuned for the next episode.